So I done heard about this conversation about this trans person who was in the women's locker room and at LA Fitness, causing a ruckus. And what we saw mostly were these videos of a black woman going off about this person being in the locker rooms, but also talking about men with big. I say, I mean, I know I could say it on my thing, but I'm just like, is YouTube gonna get me if I say the D word? But big D's, saying, that, they're making them feel uncomfortable and all these different things and what have you. See, this is the reason why folks tried to come after me not too long ago and tried to accuse me of being transphobic when I was trying to tell y'all about the difference between the trans umbrella term, okay, and actually being a trans woman who would then be in those women's spaces and moving accordingly. Because here's the situation. I saw that there was a panel discussion with so many lovely black trans women on a panel. And what I found to be a waste of time, I think. Well, I mean, I guess it's not a waste of time because T.S. Madison's YouTube channel is monetized, so definitely not a waste of time. You understand what I'm saying? She's gonna definitely get a coin from that conversation, and maybe the girls will get a little piece. But other than that, have no clue why black trans women are even talking about this. Where is Hunter? Where's the white girls at? They'll tell the white girls to go get they girl, go get they people. Tell the tell the white girl, the white queer and trans folks, windless windless farts with no sound. I have no idea what this person is saying. But where the white girls at? Let them go handle that. Why are we up here spending our time defending somebody doing something we know good and well we cannot do, that we would not do? We know this is what's the wildest thing about the situation is that a friend of mine called me up and told me about this story. I hadn't really heard about it, but a friend of mine called me up and told me about this. And what they told me was that as a black trans woman, they also go to the gym. But they kind of just go in, they don't mind, they mind their business, they work out and they leave or whatnot. And I guess this Tish person came up to them and was, y- at first, and my friend is very, very sweet. So she was able to handle her nonsense, that was happening at first and kind of calmed her down and was just like, she was listening to her through all the transphobia that she was spewing up that was coming out. And I think she got down to a few different things from this conversation with Tish. Um, one of those conversation, I think one thing in that conversation is that it must be hard when you got someone you think is a man in the locker room and y'all bodies are similarly shaped. It must be hard. And I know she says she want her body to look like that. But in this day and age, when everybody's trying to play potty police at the bathrooms and seeing, you seeing cisgender woman being told to move to move out the way, that you don't belong in this bathroom. There have been cisgender women who have reported being harassed going into uh cis or female designated bathroom spaces, I'll say. There have been cis women who've been pushed out of that. And so, you know, I know that through that conversation that they had, that one of the things that came up was that Tish has experienced being misgendered before. So a lot of times, I think that that connects to Just Hilarious. Just Hilarious also has been misgendered. She has talked about her frustration over being people some guy thinking that she was a trans woman and feeling in her feelings about that. And what's so interesting to me, with this conversation, two things can be true at the same time. I don't know how y'all find me. I y'all f- I must algorithm, listen, send all the Jesus psychopaths to my channel. Send them on over. Send them on down. Send it on down. Send it on down. Send your rain down. Send it on down. Hey, send it on down. Send them on down. Send them on down so I can knock them out one by one. Hallelujah. Yes. But what is you saying? Jesus is Lord and the only way to heaven. We need to make sure he's number one priority in our lives, every area of it. Without him, we will always be left empty and miserable. God bless you and chat. Jesus saved Javon. Javon, listen, honey, you got the wrong channel for that. Listen, I love you, but listen, Jesus ain't the only way because I'm a Buddhist. You on the wrong channel. Okay? If you want to say only way, you on the wrong channel. If you want to say he's the way for you and talk about what the God has done in your life, you know, give honor to God who's the head of my life. When I sit down and think about all the things that God has done for me, I just want to say thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like if that's your testimony, let that be your testimony. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't the way for everybody. It sure wasn't the way for me. And it sure ain't the way for many people who are doing so many bad things in the name of God. Folks need to correct themselves. There are folks who are supporting genocide in the name of God. Oh, I shouldn't have probably said that word on here, and now they're going to make my thing go down. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They're going to make Um, Just Hilarious. Would you say Just Hilarious has spoken about it being misgender, which is why a lot of her statements on the community are wild. Yes, it's really, really wild because, again, when someone has experienced being misgendered, they should know some things. How and so ever. How and so ever. That trans person that went into that women's locker room, I think needs to be arrested for sexual assault. To me, that's like sending me a dick pic I did not ask for. When you're going and when women are trying to feel safe in these spaces, especially as a trans woman that's gone into those spaces who's literally had a dick going into those spaces at different times. There was never a time that I was even trying to have that be seen. That's just where things are right now. And this is where this oh and this is where we split the road. This is where some of us in our community be splitting the road because folks don't understand that a lot of times when it comes to just like in beauty school or pretty much with any of most studies that you study, there is theory and there is practical. There's the theoretical and there's the practical. And there are a lot of white queer people who have been antagonistic in with their theory of how things are supposed to go. And they're using their privilege to push into spaces and be antagonistic. And from what my friend who goes to that gym was telling me is that that person was wearing like a sports bra and basically flashing themselves in that space and being antagonistic in that way, knowing that their privilege was going to create a ruckus where, there will be black trans women on the internet speaking in their defense. Tell me, when do they run to our defense, though? When a black trans woman gets killed, a lot of white queer women white queer people want to ask, well, what were they doing? And aren't working to dismantle and decriminalize sex work for folks. During this day and age, when there's such a big attack on trans people, and they have ran ads, Republicans, folks, just us minding our business, and they're running ads calling us the boogeyman in the bathroom, and then you want to go and do this? Girl, you're not even in community, which that's why this is why people need to understand the difference between the technicality and the theoretical about it. Yes, this person's trans, absolutely, because they fit under the trans umbrella. That's not a trans woman. That's not a trans woman. That's not a trans woman. That's someone who is trans under the umbrella that is fitting somewhere in that spectrum and blah, 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 but they ain't hit woman yet. Sorry. I know y'all keep thinking, I know what y'all gonna think about this. I've been in them gyms. I've been in them places. And all I'm trying to say is I don't like if I'm not expecting to see a dick in the spot, I don't want to see a dick in the spot. Just like when I'm talking to someone and I'm receiving text messages, I'm not just expecting to see a dick pic pop up on my phone. That's sexual assault. And when people are being antagonistic with their genitalias in a space and not just going and minding their business and doing what they have to do, you understand what I'm saying? And this is what another black trans woman was telling me, who actually goes to that gym, was saying, witnessing this person being antagonistic. But folks want to all of a sudden want to quickly run to this person's defense because they fit under the trans umbrella, not understanding everybody under the umbrella ain't marching in the same parade. You understand what I'm saying? They just not. Some folks are in it for clicks and giggles, for clicks and clout, to shake. Listen, it's like Alok, and I love Alok. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing. There's so much about the way Alok even shows up as a non-binary person or whatever that really shakes people's understanding. It's somewhat sometimes is somewhat, and to me, antagonistic, to me, in a good way, in a way that is not violating someone, it's not violating someone sexually. It's not, you know forcing someone to experience a sexual act, or doing, it's not doing different things. It's having you see someone who doesn't look gender traditionally woman in a dress with hair and doing all these things. Girl, what's the problem? You know what I mean? And I think Alok has helped us to really have conversations to push our understanding around those things. And I'm really all here for that kind of behavior. Doing that kind of stuff in a locker room where there also might be young women in there as well. Like, I do you have to be 18 to go? Like, are there young women that go into the Gold's Gym as well, that with their parents and stuff like that as well? Like, that's just, to me, that's inappropriate. It's just inappropriate. I would not want to see a dick swinging around. I'm sorry. And that's what I'm saying. I love Alok. There's so many things, when Alok, when I first met Alok and was being in community, there were so many trans people and women who were really not feeling Alok, and really felt like they were confused in the movement and so many different things. And I have to say that Alok really even challenged my own understanding of so many things. And so I really have learned so much from them. I really, really have. And I think that they have so many beautiful perspectives and things that they've added to this conversation. So I'm so grateful for their contributions to the trans community. But when it comes to this person is acting out of community, because this is not what the community knows, that this is not something that we can afford to do right now. That's not it. That's not the move. And this person is acting out of selfish, whatever, hubris, ego, whatever is happening. It's not in connection with anybody in community that's telling them that's okay. Who told them that they could just go on in there and be doing that? Like, just have them. Oh, ain't nobody need to tell them because they white. You understand what I'm saying? They nobody need to tell them nothing. They white. They can do whatever they want to do. Because if anybody say or do anything about it, they're gonna have a rah-rah rally behind them, championing their defense to do that nonsense. Y'all losing the plot here. Y'all losing the plot here. Some of y'all really losing the plot and spending time talking too much theoretical and not understanding the practical of what's going on right now. We have people who are acting in predatory ways. You know what I'm saying? Like flashing genitalia. I don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? Like I just no. Wear a towel. There's just so many different things that can be done. But from what I heard and how the things were going down, that what I was told from another black trans woman that goes to that gym, and she said that person was being antagonistic. And also Tish was being antagonistic at the same time. You understand what I'm saying? So two things can be true at the same time. You met a transphobe, you met the right transphobe at the right time, and then you want to be antagonistic in the space and wave your dick in the space. Baby, so whatever your beef might even been with her, I don't want to catch strays. I don't want to catch a stray. I didn't come here for that. You know what I'm saying? And of course, we get in, we do our things or whatever. But you can't. Well, that's not. And people know in our community, we are moving forward so that we can have the right to exist in spaces safely. And that doesn't mean just our safety. That means being able to participate in community safety. That means making the other women around us feel safe too. That means we also have to be willing to call a thing when something's happening. We have to also be willing to stand up and say something when something's not right. We got to protect each other. You know what I'm saying? As trans people, yes, we are more than likely ones to experience violence than ones to be perpetrating violence on other folks. And at the same time, everybody ain't doing everything for the same reasons. And we can't sit up here and vouch for people as if we think that they are or know that they are. I don't know what that person's motivations are. I'm not finna sit here and vouch for that person. I'm going to tell you, yes, they fit under the trans umbrella. I may not say that. I don't know if that's a trans woman or not. I can't tell you that. I can tell you they're trans, sure. And I need y'all to start understanding the differences of that and understanding when and where that is appropriate. That is what I was speaking on when I was speaking on that situation on that panel with Laverne Cox that included Deshaun. I was not trying to invalidate Deshaun's transness or whatever. I'm saying they're not a trans woman, and that's a specific experience that deserves a specific space sometimes, because those trans women understand how to move in spaces like a gym that we have been going in and out of for decades, unclocked. That's the gag from Carmen Carreras to the me's to the everybody else. Trans women have been going to these gyms with no problem for decades. Decades. So what's going on here is something different, and you got to call a thing a thing. So y'all can sit up here and play this so you can get invited by the white queers to be places because they think that you're going to repeat their bullshit. I'm not doing it. Okay? I'm not doing it. There's a difference between being the umbrella and being under the umbrella. Do you understand what I'm saying? Trans is an umbrella term. And under that umbrella are so many different things. A trans man and a trans woman are both under a trans umbrella. That does not mean a trans man is a trans woman. I mean, that should sound simple. A transvestite that be going on RuPaul's Drag Race doing drag. A sweet transvestite from Transylvania that gets sexual kicks from it and takes all that shit off at the end of the day is under the trans umbrella, but that is not a trans woman. Okay? So if any of them RuPaul Drag Race girls had took all that shit off and decided to go into and there's literally men underneath there because they're transvestites, that's what a transvestite is, And then they go into the women's locker room. No, girl, that trans card under that umbrella don't get you into every door. You don't get to go in every door with that umbrella card. You get special access over here. And it ain't about gatekeeping and all that kind of stuff or whatever. It's just about, it's a different identity card. It's a different identity. It's a shame that you got to explain this. A shame. We are under an umbrella as a community. And I would love to be in places. I love going to bathrooms where I love, my favorite bathrooms to go to are the ones where they have the doors all the way from the top to the bottom. You can't see nothing in there. Ain't daylight getting up in that. You know what I'm saying? You go in that thing and I feel safe. Can't nobody see under, up, need nothing. And then I come out and it might be a man, a woman, a trans person, and a dog washing their hands. No problems. But I sure as hell don't want to see nobody dick in that space. It's a separate side, I think, sometimes for the urinals or whatever they be doing or whatever. They be over there for the people who got them things and want to use them. You understand what I'm saying? What the people saying? Rolando says, wow, I'm annoyed as fuck. I just did some Googles and this person is apparently not trans. Like, I mean, now I haven't gotten to the bottom of it, so I don't know. They're saying that this person is trans, so I don't know what you're reading that they're saying that there might not be trans. But I hope, and again, for everybody's sake, I hope they is still identifying under that trans umbrella. Otherwise, a lot of people about to look real stupid. But all I know is that I'm not going to sit up here and waste my time and energy defending somebody when I don't know what their intentions are. I don't know that they are in community with people, because to me, it seems like they're not in community with folks who would tell them that's not what you do. Not in this moment where we're fighting for our rights. You have the privilege to go to the gym. We as trans people, the LA Fitness is being wonderful by upholding policies that let trans women use these spaces. So that person would have been, Tish would have been all in the wrong with you just using the space as a trans person. But you got to push it and be antagonistic. Because technically, we get naked in this space. And technically, theoretically, theory will get your ass whooped. Practical will keep you safe. Theory will get your ass whooped. Practical will keep you safe. That's why people be talking. That's why we talk about the practical things. What's practical to get you? That's what practical, being practical. Somebody said queer. I'm gonna get off here in a second. Queer just means different. It was a term used for men that like to dress as women, but specifically it was for men that like to wear lingerie. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about all that. I mean, because I know that I love queer. I love queer. I love queer. I love identifying as queer. It's just a little, different to me. It's off center. I used to identify as kind of a straight trans woman. That's kind of how I saw myself. But I am so queer and I'm so grateful to have discovered my queerness. Yes. Who is talk? I'm in your walls. What walls you talking about? Yes, trans is not a fetish. Somebody said, let's see, Rolando says, they're so damn annoying because people already act like there is no difference when there is. This person's overstepped, not cool. Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is people want to sit up and get on the internet and then have smoke for trans women. This is why I know, because this has been going on for decades, and I feel so sorry for the girls, because for so long the girls really been warning everybody that this was where this was going, and I was really trying to push, because there were so many girls who had a hard line about this non-binary conversation, certain things, and I'm trying to tell them, like, look, we're trying to educate everybody to understand how we all belong in this. But I understand some of their fear and all these things because of how some of these white queer people be moving through these spaces, and all they do is end up making it harder for black and brown people, because they can go back to Hollywood and Los Angeles, wherever they're at. And now, because Tish is black and she's rounding up all her black people and her music friends and these people, and taking the moment to sell her music and do all these things and get the shade room and all these other blogs involved in the conversation. And now it's just making more labor for black trans women who are getting now up on the internet talking about it and trying to defend her. I don't know why. Y'all stop that. And then also, then you got people, then folks again trying to say, like, as if we are like them, as if we move like them. We have had such a hard time trying to have a conversation within the black community to make them understand that being black and being LGBTQ are not mutually exclusive, because the ways they talk about gay and trans is as if there's a benefit or privilege for black and trans people, and not understanding that there's a completely different experience for us in this mug. Yes. Michael Town says the truth is the truth, and the black trans women who have fully transitioned bear the brunt of this behavior. And that's just the truth of it. Again, because I want to ask, where are the white girls? And where are the white girls? Where are the white girls? Because that's all I want. That's the only people I want to hear talking about this. Leave us out of it, because God knows we couldn't even do a tenth of that and get away without getting our asses beat. Again, theory will get your ass beat. Practical, girls, you want to stay practical. Practical will keep you safe, okay? Don't sit here thinking you can do what them white girls are doing in Los Angeles. I know I know we know. I know we know. I know I don't even have to say that. But to sit up here and rah 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 behind them when they not rah 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 behind you, girl. Huh. I'd rather have a V8. Mm-mm. Somebody says it's annoying as fuck because she's a lesbian, and where will she be if not for trans women being on the front lines? Exactly. So, again, two things can be true at one time. Like, this lesbian woman has gone overboard. She's a TERF. She's definitely a TERF. I actually also spoke to India Moore, who said that I think that she had some words with Tish as well. And Tish was just completely disrespectful to India Moore, calling her a nigga, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. And like, just, just she had no respect no matter what you look like. And again, this is what the girls are trying to tell you. The girls who are getting up on there and talking about, and rah 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 behind her, they are correct. At the end of the day, these turfs don't give a damn whether you pass or you don't. They think you're all men. They think we're all men. So we could start there. I do understand that. I completely get it. I'm not confused there. So again, I'm not trying to gatekeep on that experience. What I am saying though is, how about we move in a way that tries to keep us all safe? It's like having people be in the community and someone moving and acting in a wild way in an environment that's really, really dangerous and cautious, and doing things that are making it unsafe for the entire community. It's like coons. Coonery makes it unsafe for everybody. Being a pick me makes it unsafe for everybody. Acting out of integrity makes it unsafe for everybody. So this ain't community. This is not a community situation. This is a person uh creating a viral moment. This is a person acting out of community. This is a person acting as a lone wolf around sheep. Anyway, so I'm just going to end on this note and just say what is Rolando says, J.K. Rowling out here fumbling a multi-billion-dollar Harry Potter bag because she wants to be a TERF. Exactly. Because who watching that? No, child. Listen, listen, listen. Do you want to fight? You want to fight? Let's just fight. How about we just fight? Because what you think I, you're not, you just, well, you want to fight. I think it's just that you want to fight. Because, like, what you think I'm saying here? I'm talking about the wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm not, oh my goodness, people. Like, all right. Is this the chick that microwaves pizza rolls and farts into Tupperware? Just want to make sure I'm in the right place. Now, who did what now? Microwaves pizza rolls and farts into Tupperware. Y'all just get on the internet and want to say anything. I mean, it's great. We could do this. I could totally do. We could do this, but like, this really shows the lack of maturity, in wow. No, okay, no worries. Listen, I know. Okay, don't worry. If listen, sometimes I'm a little slow too, so it's fine. But what I'm just trying to say to you in general, it's not me calling women sheep. What I'm saying is, in general, is that you know we we are literally in a situation where Republicans are making up stories about people who do nefarious things under the banner of being a trans person. And everybody in our community knows that that's just not doesn't seem to be a real thing because that's not where none of us be at. It's not as a community member, as a person who tries to get a job and do their day-to-day things. That's just not where our mind be. We be so trying to just avoid violence and do different things or whatever. What a privilege it is to walk into a space with your dick out. My God, on today. My God, on today. I didn't even walk out with my dick out at home by myself when no one was around. Now I know that's another, conversation and that's something else and blah 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 whatever. But all I'm saying is, y'all know we tuck. Y'all know we tuck. You understand what I'm saying? So for the 2 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you moving around in these spaces, ain't no reason to be dangalanga swangalanging. Ain't no reason to be doing that. Someone says, I think you are a black goddess, babe. Well, thank you. I'm a goddess and a queen, you know. Thank you. So yeah, so anyway, so before we get off here, so that's going to be that's my 2 cents on that situation, is that uh community looks out for each other. We're working to protect each other, but you have to understand there is a difference between affinity and community. Just because you have a same identity or affinity, like, oh, we're both trans, we're black, whatever, that does not automatically mean we're community and we should be fighting for each other. It just doesn't. I don't listen. I've been trying to break this down before. Google Peter Block, the author of the book called Community, and I quote him all the time in saying that the admission price. Okay, we listening? Huh? Okay. The admission price for community is accountability. Who was that person accountable to when they was doing that other than themselves? They weren't even accountable to the other women in the space, in the locker room space. Do you understand what I'm saying? That they're trying to be in community with. There's an accountability to make sure that this is a safe space for everybody. But you can't be bothered to check in. You can't be bothered to check the temperature of the moment and the political moment, the political climate. It's hot, bitch. The political climate is hot. The block is hot, bitch. The block is hot. It's wild. So you won't find me defending um uh that person. I think that they should consider pressing charges on that person, because I think that I think that that was sexual assault. I think that they might have been trying to be sexual assault, like, again, showing your genitalia unwarranted, or whatever the case is, to people, is sexual assault. So I mean, I don't know the particulars around that situation, but in that situation, depending on how that went down, that might allegedly be sexual assault, is all I'm saying. So I'm going to move on from that conversation, and I'm going to move into our Buddhist breadcrumb for the evening, so I can get up out of here. But again, I am reading from the Wisdom of the Lotus Sutra. I am reading from the Lotus Sutra, Wisdom of the Lotus Sutra, and there's this part in here that has just really been on my heart, and like I said, I sent it to Amanda Seals as well. And basically, it is a chapter on upsetting attachments and arousing doubts, inducing a revolutionary leap in consciousness. And what he says is that this illustrates the principle of upsetting attachments and arousing doubts, or causing uncertainty in people's minds about the ideas to which they have been attached. Having doubt cast on the correctness of their current beliefs allows them to open their eyes to a higher plane of awareness. There are folks too scared to even enter this territory. They don't want to start to doubt, because then they think their whole world is going to unravel, which it probably needs to be dismantled, because erroneous teachings and the poison and things that don't serve you need to be removed and dismantled. Upsetting attachments and arousing doubts indicates a sudden overturning of the beliefs and convictions that people have held up to the point. It is a decisive blow to the foundation of existing world views. That's what happened with the documentary Israelism. When there were a lot of Jewish people who saw that, and you could see the pain in them, it was a huge blow to the convictions and things that they had been taught and their existing worldview. It was almost traumatizing for them to have to now separate themselves from that. So right now, what we are doing, when we say free Palestine, when we say free Congo, free Sudan, all of these different things, and all these other folks are crying, and Deborah Messing is losing her shit, that is because Madam is having her attachments upset, disturbed. Her whole everything is disturbed. Miss Deborah Messing, it needs to be on watch. You know what I'm saying? And so it says, the bodhisattvas of the earth, who are are us Buddhists, embody this responsibility, compassion, and wisdom. They are great benefactors who work to elevate the spiritual state of humankind. Um, it says, It describes folks like this who, are able to do this, who are able to upset people's attachments and arouse doubts. That is what I have also been doing. Folks who have been listening to the things I've been saying, sometimes at first they might think they want to fight me. Hold on, girl. Hold on. You know what I'm saying? Just listen a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm upsetting your attachments to what you think you know, to what you've been taught and what you've been told. And I know that now that you're hearing it and you're hearing the truth, it's starting to arouse some doubts in which now you starting to doubt what you've been told. That don't sound quite right. Now do it. No, it don't. So folks like that, it says, they describe us as firm in the power of will and concentration, with constant vigilance, seeking wisdom. They expound various wonderful doctrines, and their minds are without fear. It also says that they are skillfully learning the bodhisattva way, unsoiled by worldly things like the lotus flower in the water. And they are clever at difficult questions and answers. Their minds know no fear. They have firmly cultivated, persevering minds, upright in dignity and virtue. You know what I mean? This is what we aspire to at the very least, you know? So overall though, this chapter, like there's so many things that I have highlighted in this chapter, but the main thing um that I want to point out here is that where is it? Here it is. Okay, here it is. So they say perhaps, okay, let's see. So it says the greater the degree to which attachments are upset and doubts aroused, the greater the difficulties that will arise. Hear me when I'm saying this. The greater the degree to which attachments are upset. Think about it. You are to the greater to the degree that that attachment is being upset and doubts are aroused, the greater the difficulties that are about to arise. We are implementing the principle of upsetting attachment and arousing doubts on a global stage. Never before have people been so oblivious to their own existence, nor have they looked down on themselves so inconsequential and insignificant as they do now. Convinced of their own insignificance, people have ceased to even question things. They live complacently, unquestioning. Such spiritual sterility makes people smaller still. The teaching of the Lotus Sutra, however, breaks down the petty limitations that people set on their lives. Put another way, while partaking of a state of life of boundless joy and completion, a bodhisattva at the same time takes action to advance, to ascend even higher, and to lead still more people to enlightenment. In other words, in a state of incomplete completeness. So, that's the word for today that I'm gonna leave with you. It's definitely going to be a rough road ahead, Rolando. Folks are really, really attached to yeah, it's definitely gonna be a rough road for Miss Deborah Messy. But folks are really attached to some things that are really poisoning our culture. They're attached to entertainment and news and things that are poisoning them and poisoning our culture, poisoning the way that we think about each other. I went to a restaurant. Shout out to the people at First Watch in Decatur. They know I love to come in there and see them. And I sat at like the community table where you don't really have a reservation. You just sit with other people. And there were some other white people there talking about some stuff or whatever. And, talking about Trump and this, that, and the third. And, I was going to stay out the conversation, but then I got in the conversation and I kind of started, just breaking down some things, but breaking down how, both Republicans and Democrats obviously have blood on their hands and have responsibility to take for the mess that we're in right now. Um, but what was great was that when we finished that breakfast, they were really uh I told them that I was trans. I told them that how I'm treated in this country, how I've become a target in this country. There seemed to be some empathy from these two white men sitting at this table, who I felt a little conservative air from initially. I don't know what, complete flavor it was, but all I know is that by the end of that conversation, there seemed to be some understanding, and at least in my humanity. And, so it always remind me about these amazing, beautiful experiences that I have with people in the real world, not on the internet where people want to just sound clever. You know what I'm saying? So just know that I'm going to always be here to try to do better, to get us to do better and do different things. I saw, the wonderful, show on, T.S. Madison's show where she had the different trans women on there. I know one trans woman. I won't say your name because I won't even give you the benefit of me saying your name, but who had the nerve to say that why would they put a comment on the screen, my comment on the screen, I don't like I don't like nobody. No, bitch, I don't like you. I don't like scammers. Okay, I don't like criminals in our community who disguise themselves as community leaders. Okay, check my record, it's clean. Can you say the same? No, you absolutely cannot. Okay, so all I know is uh I am worried about keeping my community safe. Other folks out there need to worry about court cases they're facing. You understand what I'm saying? Just leave me out of it is all I can say. You don't want none. You don't want no smoke with me, okay? I'm a real one. My record is clean. Ask anybody. Go to my fiscal sponsor. Ain't nobody accused me of stealing no money. They couldn't. You know what I'm saying? Because it just never happened. You understand what I'm saying? I've never been to prison for fraud. I've never been certified a fraud for fraudulent activity. But there are people in our community who are people who have been putting into leadership spaces who are certified fraudulent, certified by the state, not by me. So yes, my hair has black roots. No, some white girl is not missing her hair. I know. Listen, sweetie. Listen. I can give you some time, bro. 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 You want the link, bro? Bro. We could talk. Look, I just people are so dumb. But anyways, yeah, so I'm not gonna put all these, because listen, click like, share, subscribe, do all the things. I don't know what I have done to attract the algorithm of all these trolls that are now coming inside the chat saying all kind of rude things. You got the right one because it really doesn't matter at all to me. First of all, I don't have balls. Okay. But I will tell you, if you want to suck my dick, you can fly to Thailand and I will call my doctor up and tell him to grab that meat out of the locker for you so you can suck my dick. I don't have it though, but you're going to have to go to Thailand and spend some money on it. Okay? And that's on what? That's on period. Do, 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 do. All right, y'all. We're about to get out of here. I think do I have my outro video on here? At least I can play my outro music. Where my outro music at? I know I got my outro music on here somewhere. Where my background music at? So we can get that going out. I got it. Here we go now. All right, y'all. It's been a great show. Have a great evening.